What's up, tacos? I'm so glad that you're here again today on a Friday for our Talk About It Friday video. We have some great questions to get through today, so I'm not going to hold this back from getting started. We're going to get started right now, so here we go! Alright friends, like I said, we're going to get right into it with our first question for today, which is, what was cool when you were younger that isn't cool anymore? So for me, I am a little bit older than all of you are. I'm not an old person by any stretch of the...
It means at least I hope I'm not classified as an old person.
I like to still think I'm hip and cool and have it, but there are certainly things that are a lot different from when I was a child to what you are growing up with, and certainly things have changed throughout the world today. But one thing that I'm going to highlight that has been a huge change is smartphones. Everybody now typically has a smartphone within their family, whether you may not have a phone, but your parents might have a phone, and it's likely some kind of smartphone. Back in my day, we didn't have smartphones. Back in my day, we had these little flip phones kind of things, or if you were lucky, you had like a full keyboard layout. And another thing that I'm going to get along with this is that, so we didn't have smartphones, but a lot of us had iPods. And that's kind of how Apple really got in with the young kids, is having iPods. So I think the one thing that I will say is that when I was younger, the cool thing was to have an iPod. And this is even like before iPod Touch kind of thing. I'm talking back in like 2009 when I got this iPod Nano chromatic type thing. This is what we listened to music on. I even had movies downloaded to this. Think of this little screen giving me a movie.
I had like Jeff Dunham comedy specials on this iPod.
And this is what I listened to, and this is what had me being cool when I was your age. This little device. Now think about how most of us now have these smartphones. So this is the difference between you and I, my friends. This is what was cool when I was a kid, and this is what is cool when you are a kid now. These little iPods. So that is what I would say for that question. It was cool to have iPods and little ones like these, not big ones and things like that. So,
yeah.
Alright, so the second question that we have for today's video is, what weird food combination do you enjoy? I can say for this one, I don't think anybody else is going to have the same food combination that I enjoy, just because it's so weird and so outrageous. I mean, it's not really outrageous, but you just wouldn't put these two things together. So for me, it is definitely pizza. Typically, I would do this with frozen pizza, so frozen pizza, and orange juice. Yeah, that's right. I drink orange juice when I have pizza. And this is something that I really enjoy, and there's something about the way that the flavors just come together that orange juice and pizza are the weird food combination that I like. Now I'm sure this isn't like the weirdest food combination I've had, but it's like a breakfast beverage with a dinner that is not typically put together at all. But this is something that I enjoy, and you can ask anybody that I know that is my family that when we had frozen pizza for dinner that on evenings, I would be having a cold glass of orange juice with my frozen pizza. So that is my weird combination. I'm sure you have some other crazy ones out there that are just
mind-boggling
as to why you would put those flavors together. But that is my food combination. Please continue to share these food combination questions. It's a really fun one, and I enjoyed answering that question and sharing that I'm a pizza and orange juice type of guy. Now, friends, it's time to get into the two this or that questions that we have for today. And the first one is about college sports. And so the question is, do you prefer college football or do you prefer college basketball? So there's always a lot of talk about what college sport is the most fun to watch. And I do certainly love watching all kinds of college sports, especially football and basketball. But there's something about college basketball that cannot be replicated across the entire spectrum of any kind of sports, and that is March Madness. Yes, my friends, the college basketball tournament of March Madness that happens where 64 plus teams get together and play it out for the win cannot be replicated in any kind of sport, just because there are never that many people playing for that kind of championship.
64 teams.
You have what they've now put in as the college football playoff that takes the
4 top teams.
So when it comes down to it, folks, if I'm going to have to watch competitive play for college sports, I'm going to want to watch the 64 teams take it on rather than the 4 that are sometimes controversially picked by a committee. So I would definitely go with college basketball for this one. Okay, and now for our second question that we have for this or that category, we have one that I definitely have a clear-cut answer on which one I enjoy more, and it is about board games. and it is, do you prefer Monopoly or do you prefer life? I'm just going to come flat out and say it. I
Hate Monopoly.
I cannot stand Monopoly. I'm taking Life all the way. Life is one of my favorite games to play. I just played with my dear friends when I was up north for the weekend, and I'm so bad at Monopoly. I think this is why I hate it. I'm so bad that I always end up with like no money. I'm staying in the most ridiculously expensive places. I can never afford, like, I don't have a strategy to buy property very successfully. There was one time when I played Monopoly with my family, and my dad is so frugal and he's such a deal cutter when it comes to these things that one time I landed on one of my dad's properties and I said, screw it. I took my piece of the game, I put it on the side of the road, and I said,
I'm sleeping on the street tonight.
I cannot stand Monopoly. Monopoly makes, and the games go on
Forever.
I've been in battles where we ended up taking the game, taking pictures of it, and having to play later. By the time that this was happening, I was already out of the game. I wasn't even playing in the game, so I just had to sit and watch my friends play Monopoly when we got back to wherever we were. But there's something about Monopoly that I just don't like, and I'm definitely more of a life person in this case. I'm going to settle it. I'm just going to breathe and move on. So friends, for our final bits of this video that we have for this week in our TACO-Bout It Friday video, I figured we would keep it kind of lighthearted on an interesting topic surrounding the theme of Halloween, since we have Halloween coming up. And the final question that we're going to talk about today is, Wade, do you believe in ghosts? And I think this topic is so interesting to talk about because there are so many different kinds of ghost stories and like paranormal activity that I think when you talk about it with someone, they always have a different story. And for me, I definitely would say that I believe in ghosts. It's just that what kind of capacity do I believe in them as? See, my family has a lot of interesting past of paranormal-esque kind of stories that typically happen around when someone has died. I come from a family that has had all of my grandparents from both my mom and my dad's side have passed away. And there are crazy stories that seem to take place when they pass away. And there are certain events that it's like almost as if something is being told to us about them passing away. And I think that is at which capacity that I believe in ghosts. I'm also a huge proponent of ghost adventure shows. I love to sit down and watch all these like ghost adventures or ghost hunter stories. I would love to have the opportunity to spend a night in like a haunted house. Now, I'm sure that after coming out of these experiences, it would definitely be something where I'd like, oh, maybe ghosts are completely real. Like, I'm not sure how much I believe on that spectrum, but I'm super into the paranormal activity, and I definitely do believe that that people who have passed on from this world have the ability to remain and stay and haunt and do certain things. I mean, haunt is in the sense of still being present in some kind of form of energy, and I think that's what people classify as being ghostly or something like that. That's what you're getting on like a ghost hunter show. But it's definitely something that I would be interested in doing. I know that sounds weird. I'm not a very big haunted house person. Like when it comes to Halloween type of activity where you go to a haunted house and people scare you. But I would be interested in staying in some place for the night and like doing some kind of paranormal investigating where ghost hunting and that kind of activity is like a thing that you'll do at this like haunted house. But yeah, I definitely would say that I do believe in ghosts and the power of spiritual energy for being in present. And I don't know if that really would conflict with my views of how I do think I do believe that there's a heaven and I do believe in a God, but I also have some kind of belief system that like energy is a huge part in how people leave this earth, and that energy can be stored, and that's probably what you experience with something ghostly. So that's what I would say for Wade, do you believe in ghosts? I would say I do believe in ghosts to an extent. I don't believe necessarily in the haunting aspect, but more that energy is still able to be felt, and that places can be haunted by ghosts. So that's how I'd answer that question. I hope to hear maybe from some of you guys about how you feel about ghosts and how you might say things for this or that or any of these questions. I hope that this was a great discussion to end your week with as we come into this Friday. I hope that you enjoy these questions. I hope that you have a great rest of this week, and I hope that you enjoy your weekend. I have a lot of high hopes. I know we're getting to the end here, but enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here on this video, and thank you for listening to what I have to say. And I hope we can continue the discussion that we have set on this Friday. So we'll see you next week, Monday, with some more motivation, and I hope you have a great weekend. So see you later, everyone.